It's easy to be in the midst of a city and not see the passion with which some people hold gun ownership. But even though I can understand that very, very, very clearly, mentally ill people, really, we really have to do a better job taking care of mentally ill people first and foremost. This legislation is one small part that protects everybody.
Sure.
So this isn't, I don't think that this is pushing any kind of questionable territory, and would be disappointed if people perceived it like that. So something that we as a rational society should get to pretty quickly.
If you, for example, had someone who said, you're trying to take away my Second Amendment rights by closing the gun show loophole and fixing background checks, what would you say to
Yeah,
that?
so here's a person who pretty much can understand the Second Amendment rights, and as a physician, I see people who really are in trouble themselves with mental illness, with other issues, that really should not have a gun. If this was your brother or your sister or your child, you would not want them to have a gun. If this was a person that you loved, you would not want them to have a gun. We have to really come together as a community to protect the people too. This past week we witnessed a person in that situation that got shot themselves because they did have access to a gun, and police officers who had near misses. We have a strong social approach to trying to protect people with mental illness.
Yeah.
And no matter how much you believe in people's right to own guns, it's not good for the person who's mentally ill to give them access to guns. It's not good for society to give them access to guns. And that turns out not to be an issue of a right. This is really an issue for how do we come together and be a healthy community.
Sure. That's a responsibility.
As a responsible community. And if my loved one had mental illness, I would really want people looking out in a loving way for my loved one with mental illness and not give them access to a gun.
Sure.
So the question that's on the table here today is far removed from my background.
Okay.
It's far removed from, I think, the issues regarding people's rights to own guns. And it's much more about how we'll be a healthy community.